So welcome everyone. This is our virtual tasting for our fall 2020 wine club releases. We've got a lineup here of some amazing wines that Ashley made. But first, I wanted to acknowledge Vicki Farrow. Vicki and Mike are the proprietors. She's waving her hand. And then it is my honor to introduce Hawes, our wine club coordinator, who again has been with us for about 6 months now. And he's really the background and the face of the wine club, and connecting with all of you and making sure that your shipments are prepared, you're getting what you want, making sure that they're tracked and on their way. So I thought we'd let Hawes share a little bit about his background in wine and what his favorite varietal is.
All right, take two. All right. So basically, I grew up in Napa. So coming to Sonoma and Dry Creek was the first time I actually working at Amista, the first Sonoma Dry Creek vineyard that I've ever worked for. I grew up in Napa. My grandpa owned 7 acres of Merlot. So literally like picking grapes and just hanging out in the tractor and not really helping, but helping, just riding along. And then I went to school at Sonoma State, kind of went to study business. But like while I was studying business, I was like, all right, just because wine was around me at all times, parties and just like festivities, it's just like, I needed to get away from wine. Like my grandpa, my dad was like, why don't you just kind of go become a winemaker, go to enology, you're around it, we have so many people that can help you. And I was like, I want nothing to do with wine. No, like, cause it was around me the whole time. And so like I went to school, studied business, and while I was just doing homework one day, I was like, I saw a bottle of Sauv Blanc and I was like, oh, cool, alcohol, you know? Like, I was a college student doing homework and I was like, all right, so I enjoyed it. I was like, okay, this is pretty good. I can't see what they're talking about. And then I go back to visit my parents for holidays and I'm watching a Warriors game, go down to their like bottom shelf, their really good stuff, and literally like pull off like a $300 bottle, start drinking it. And I was like, oh my God, this is so good.
Whoa! Let's get started.
Whoa! That's the CGI. You guys didn't see that, right? We're paying big bucks for it now. But I mean, here, let's just pour and I'll keep talking. But yeah, so basically I worked at multiple wineries in Napa and basically started as a harvest intern to an event to taste room. I've done a little bit of everything, and working in Napa and then working in Sonoma, you see the difference of like, you think of Napa and you get this kind of sentiment of like people from Napa tend to be a certain type of way, like they walk in, they own the place. I came in here and walked, and it basically, I feel like it's a whole different vibe. Everyone's super friendly, get to hang out, and just the way everyone talks, it's just like you care more about people. Over there, it's more like, what wine do you want? Just drink it, drink it. And again, going for Napa, I love Cab. So big, bold Cab is right up my alley, right here. So, and that's just a little bit about myself. And I guess the fusion couldn't wait, you know?
So again, the very friendly nature of Amista. So couldn't be a more perfect match to have Hawes with us and working with all of you club members. So a couple of things that I wanted to talk about first is all of these wines come from the 2017 or 2018 growing season. Even though our fusion is a non-vintage, it actually came from all of the fruit in the 2018 harvest. Our Mourvedre is the 2018, and then the Cab and the Syrah are from 2017. So 2017 was a cooler year, and it was really, really dry. So, you know, Ashley always says, as a winemaker, those are really challenging years, and it really, really shows the true craft of a winemaker. And then 2018 itself was like the stellar year. It was a bountiful crop. There was rain. The temperature was pretty temperate throughout the year. And it allowed the fruit to hang a little bit longer, so you get those real good fruit characteristics. Vivian made the reds. There were a couple of different things that she did differently with them, and we'll talk about that as we start to taste these, because I think everybody is ready for some wine. I know I am.
Yeah, seriously. Cheers.
Cheers. So this
Cheers.
is our fusion. This is one, oh, that's delicious. This is one of the multiple sparkling wines that we make. Most of you have tried them. If you haven't tried all of them, I would highly suggest that you order some. But this was done about 5 years ago. Our fusion started, and it was really kind of our takeoff of what a Blanc de Noir was, which is a blend of Pinot Meunier, Pinot Noir. So for us, we wanted to really focus on estate fruit. And here on property, we have the Chardonnay, which we make our Blanc de Blanc from. But we also grow Mourvedre, Grenache, and Syrah. So we thought, you know, how could we utilize each of those varietals to make a sparkling wine from? So 12 years ago, Vicki and Mike had a consulting winemaker. Ashley wasn't on board at that point, and they had extra still Syrah juice that he wanted to take to his class at the junior college to teach them the traditional method champenois process, where it's the second fermentation in the bottle with sugar and yeast, and that's how you create those Lawrence Welk tiny bubbles. And a couple years later, he brought back the finished product and shared it with Vicki and Mike, and Vicki said, "Oh my gosh, this is like joy in a bottle. What else can we make sparkling wine out of?" So fast forward, we have 5 different sparkling wines. We're going to be introducing in 2 years a new wine yet to be named, but it'll be a rosé of Grenache, Mourvedre, Syrah. So this one itself, the fusion, is predominantly Chardonnay, and it's dosaged with a little bit of Grenache and a little bit of Syrah. And over the 5 years that we've been creating this one, the formula or the recipe has changed a little bit. So this particular one actually reduced the percentage of Chardonnay and added a little more Grenache and a little bit more Syrah. And oh my gosh, I think it is an out of the park home run, what she did. So you get, well, actually, Hans, why don't you, what do you?
Yeah, no. So
think?
here, I've been drinking while you've been talking, so I need to add a little bit more. But honestly, as soon as I bring a bottle of this home, literally my girlfriend's like, as soon as I walk in, puts it in the fridge. All right, that's what we're having tonight. Like literally, she's a bubbles girl. And then like I really enjoy I get like strawberry. For me, strawberries and cream is the huge kind of component where you get the dried strawberries from the Grenache, a little bit of tart cherry from the Syrah aspect, and then you get a lot of that acidity, that clean, crisp kind of like. You get it from a Blanc de Blanc, but you get that acidity from the Chardonnay. So basically, you're combining you're pulling notes from the Grenache, the Syrah, and the Chardonnay. You can kind of fusing all those flavors. But for me, honestly, I get like the strawberries and cream, bright cherry, a little bit of pomegranate on there. I mean, like I honestly I used to be like all my Blanc de Blancs. I kind of do like spicy food. This one for me, like Thai food or even Mexican food, it goes so well. Even your perfect like charcuterie plate, like that, like prosciutto, like the what's that gooey cheese? Brie. There you go. There's so many gooey cheeses, so he couldn't have guessed it. But yeah, the perfect charcuterie plate is my perfect pairing for this wine, honestly.
So actually, I have to tell you, on Tuesday, we were over to some friend's house for dinner, and they made a couple different food choices, and one of them was brats and sauerkraut. Oh. It actually was an awesome pairing with the fusion. So you never know, and it's the thing I love about these is we go through second fermentation with these anywhere from 9 to 15 months. So they're supposed to be bright and big fruit characteristics. They're all Brut in style, which really allows them to be a great pair with food. So
let me just add something to that.
yeah,
In addition to pairing with food, which of course is beautiful, I love to give this particular wine as a gift for weddings, for anniversaries, for reunions, any time where somebody is joining or a new addition to a family, right, Dorothy? Right, Matt? It's a perfect wine for gift giving.
I don't know. I kind of hoard it for myself.
Oh, Robert.
So what do you guys think of it? What are some of the flavor characteristics you get, and what would you pair it with? You can unmute yourself.
It goes well in a glass.
Love that, yeah.
Or with a Thursday afternoon.
Yes, anytime, exactly. It's definitely drinkable anytime you want to drink it.
The perfect Thursday night wine.
I never thought of strawberries, but yeah.
What are you doing?
Oh yeah, I do taste.
Now we have the Keelers from Minnesota on, and this is the first time that they've had our wine. They're relatively new wine club members. So Katie, Rob, what do you get on this one? Was it a surprise to you?
Kate's not here yet, so she's on her way.
Okay.
We have our friend Joanne and Dan Scavina, who we actually had a nice first wine tasting with them a couple months back. But I do pick up the strawberries. It is very light. It would be good with fruits, Thai. Haas, I thought as soon as you said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's absolutely spot on.
Yeah, I usually do it on.
Now the question is, do you like Thai food hot or more mild? Because I think this would be great with the hot.
Yeah, well, it's going to take that spice away.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you know me, like I add spice to everything. I don't know why. Like it's like I just need to have it. Like
is it in your blood?
I have a little to go Tabasco sauce. No, just carry. No, it's just in case of emergency. No, but for me, like just because the spice aspect of it, there's times where it enhances the spice, but there's times where it just like on the back palate, like you're eating something spicy, and then like you take a sip of the fusion, and then it just kind of gives it that refreshing. It doesn't automatically okay, it's not spicy anymore, but it just either enhances the flavor of the fusion itself or the food that you're eating it. So it just adds another layer to it, which for me, since you already have the spice indicator, it's already, your palate's already like, all right, it's high alert. And then you add something great, it's like, all right, you can intake it a little bit more on there. So that's just because I drink a lot of spicy food.
Eat a lot of spicy food.
There you go. There you go.
So the Fusion is one of our limited production wines, and we only make about 75 cases. And it really makes it that special wine, really for any day, but also for special occasions and gift giving, like Vicki had said. So why don't we go on to, which I'm so excited about, is our 2018 Movedra. This is the first year that we've produced this. In 2017, we went through a replant of some areas of our property. And it gave us an opportunity to look differently about, thank you, of course, how we're making wine. The Movedra that we had all went into either our trace or into our sparkling Macharo, which is the Spanish term for Movedra. And 2018, as I had said, was really an abundant year, and actually had a couple of barrels left over after doing the blend of the trace. And we decided to do a standalone Grenache. Well, or sorry, standalone Mourvedre. And I have to say, this just knocked it out of the park. Seriously. We're in a bit of a microclimate here. The property is a little bit cooler because of the proximity to Dry Creek itself. Dry Creek is drained from the bottom of Lake Sonoma, so it's really cold. So it tempers the climate right here, which makes it a perfect spot for growing Rhone varietals. And this is exactly what we had hoped for. So Mourvedre itself is generally used as a blending grape, and so it's not very common to find a standalone. So you get all of those dark fruit characteristics, those black cherry, dark fruits, and you know, in Ashley's typical manner, these are all just beautifully done. They're light on the tannin, but really mouthful of juice and terrificness, if there is such a word.
Yeah, so as soon as this wine came out, it's like, because I've been talking about our trays, like whenever I explain it, we have the tasting menu, and you see Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre blends everywhere. You see the GSMs, and I'm like, I'm so excited to finally have the M. You know, I've had the Grenache, I've had the Syrah, now this is the M. This is the Mourvedre. Like, I've had a handful of Mourvedres, and they're usually really big. If you like Cabs and Tempranillos, they tend to be really dark fruit, big full body. That grape's originally from Spain, so like it comes from like an old world. So you bring it to the new world, and with Ashley's style, she kind of like you said, like she has that finesse, and kind of instead of being super dark, it has this beautiful like gaminess, dark cherry, black fruit. It's like I've had like the ones that I've had are super big, super dark. This one is bright, acidity. It's really good. It's just really exciting to have first of all, a Mourvedre and a really awesome Mourvedre at that.
Yeah.
Like, it's really good.
So one of the things that she does is she ages this for 24 months, very similar to what she does with the Cabs. So you're getting just a tinge of vanilla, but that extra time in the barrel softens that tannin structure. So it's ready to drink now and enjoy for Thanksgiving.
Like, I honestly, so like the two pairings that come to mind when I drink this is lamb, because it has the herbaceousness of it, and then like a vegetarian, probably you would want to go with like a shiitake or like kind of a mushroom dish, because you get that earthiness and you gotta get that. So like if you mushrooms or lamb, or just put them together and just do both. It's so good, honestly.
So actually, Mike's favorite wine is our GSM blend, Trace. And when he tasted this one, he has a new favorite.
That's saying
So
something.
we only made 45 cases of this, so I have to be very controlling on inventory and what actually goes to the Pharaoh's house. So Vicky, what do you think?
I think you're mean.
Love you.
Yeah,
No,
Robert,
I love this wine too. It's the first M, right? The first M that we've done. And it's become one of my new favorites too. So I haven't opened my bottle, but that's what I'm going to open tonight.
Ooh, excellent. What are you going to have with it?
Oh, who knows? Who cares? I picked
Thursday,
wine
even
and
better.
then the dinner.
What was that, Paul?
I said I picked the wine and then the dinner.
Oh, there you go.
yeah, we just tapped with the wine. But Robert, maybe I missed it on the fall release. Oh, there we go. But I did not see it. So I'm on your website now, and it's there's no price disclosed.
So you have to sign in as a club member?
I know, but who knows those logins?
Yeah.
I can help you with that.
Paul, just email me, just let me know, you know? I'll take care of it.
All right, I'll mute.
This is $50 a bottle, plus you get your wine club savings. So what's everybody think of?
This is good.
2 thumbs up. I've seen 4 thumbs up already.
Did you hear that? Herb says he loves it.
Excellent.
Oh, awesome.
And everybody, just so you know, okay, hold on. Amy?
Yes.
I'm thinking I'm gonna mute you. I'm wondering if the echo is coming from there.
Oh, I don't hear it anymore.
Yeah, so no offense. No offense, Amy. I just wanted you to know. Anyway,
I had only unmuted so that I could say something, but I can stay muted. It's totally
No,
fine.
go ahead and say it real quick. Say it real quick.
No, I just said it was, he asked what we thought of the Movedra, and I was saying it was delicious. That's all.
And I was just going to add that it's very exciting that we have 3 generations of wine club members, although one generation isn't eligible to drink yet. So down in the corner of I don't know where they are, but Herb Irvin and Matt Fleming are related. So they're 2 generations. And I believe the kids are somewhere in the background.
They're on also.
Yep, there they are.
They're on also. And then up, Dorothy Dyson is there also with her daughter-in-law, and there's a 3rd generation that just arrived there. So we're super excited about new generations coming to join the wine club at some point in the future.
Yeah, but my mom is also a member, so that's 4.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So if everybody's ready, we'll go on to the 17 Syrah. Bring a bucket. I don't want to waste. Thank you. So when Vicki and Mike bought the property in 1999, one of the things that they did right away within that next year was they took out 8 acres of Chardonnay and planted it with Syrah. So Mike couldn't wait. 2 years later, he pulls in about 3 tons of fruit and makes Syrah in the garage. So this isn't the garage Syrah that Mike made, but it certainly is something that's really carried on as a tradition. So this is, we call the Syrah our flagship varietal. And today it goes into as a standalone, it goes into trace. We're trying to come up with some other creative ways of doing some co-ferments. So, you know, really we want to showcase the property. So this is from that 2017 year. And Ashley, one of the things that she does is she cold soaks the fruit in dry ice for 5 days. And that starts to the fermentation, and it really takes the tannins or holds the tannins into the skins. And then she presses it off about 12 days later. And that's what's really helped this one not be that super tannin bomb because of the 17 year. So one of the things that I really like about Syrah itself is that you get some of those smoky characteristics. You get the Bing cherry characteristics. What do you get on this one?
So I like the way you were saying the cold maceration. Yeah, because it's a 17. It was hot that year, and just by leaving in that cold maceration, you get the darker color. It's darker than the Movedra. I get a big black, like it's a bolder wine for sure. I get dark and it's blue and dark notes that I mostly get, like so blackberry, little blueberry, little bit dark cassis on there. Honestly, like This is like my barbecue wine. I like like spicy barbecue. I'm just talking about food.
Spicy.
I'm hungry right now. Like I also I've had it with I took this home 2 days ago and had a blue cheese burger with the Syrah. It was really good. Honestly, it was so good. Just because but the Syrah, that peppery, the leatheriness, just plays off and balances off really well. It's really, really good, honestly.
So we tasted this with Ashley, and I thought, it's good, but it was relatively new. It hadn't settled in the bottle, and I took some home and had it with tacos.
It's right up my alley.
And the spicy sauce. It was absolutely incredible. So it really brought the fruit out, and I think it's, again, with Ashley's style being very fruit focused, it's another winner for me.
And I think with all these 17s for sure, because it was such a warm year and it was more of a struggle than 18, you definitely should decant them for as long as you can, like at least 30 minutes. I usually do, because you just decant them for 30 to 45 minutes. It's gonna just make that tannin and make it a little softer. Unless you want it to it's got that soft silkiness on there already. By opening it up and swirling on there, gets it more of that silky, more velvety flavor that you're used to on that Syrah and the Cab, honestly.
If you can wait 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, that's when you have your cocktail and then you move into the wine.
Hey, I have a quick question about Syrah too, because we've had several years of Syrah coming to us, and it seems like some years it's more fruit forward, a little bit lighter, and I would actually say this one is maybe in the middle, maybe a little more fruit forward and lighter. And other years you get a lot of that pepper, leather, kind of currant, kind of heavier Syrahs. Is that just a difference in the year with the grapes? Is that how
it is? Yeah, Ashley's pretty consistent in the style of what she's making. They're all vintage dependent. And that's what I love about, small boutique wines is that, there are people that want that same fruit profile year after year after year. And that's what really shows the true craft of winemaking is the vintage variation.
Yeah,
great question.
We used to come to do tastings in house there on site, and we would stand there with Mike and Vicky for probably way too long at the counter back when people staffing the room. But you guys had those little square chocolates, and so sometimes it'd be like the perfect pairing. It'd be sweet and sweet, and other times it'd be like opposites, right? You're kind of almost doing a pepper, kind of smoky leather kind of type of wine with a chocolate, and it'd be an interesting difference.
Right. Yeah, chocolate is a perfect pairing for Syrah and for Cab.
And another thing that also evolves is just when you drink them, if you're drinking the 17 now, as opposed to you wait 2 years, it's going to change completely. Because we're pouring the 15 now, in our tasting. And I see what you're saying, because that one's got, this one it's big in a different way. That one's got a little more smoke, a little, the tannins are softer, but it's got more darker fruit. This one is it's just the acidity is higher. The tannins are a little stronger. You wait 2 years, even, it's just going to be a whole different wine. It depends. Do you like that big fruit? You drink it earlier. You want the softer tannins. You hold it down 15, depending on what you like.
Yeah.
The older you go, the less fruit you get, the less tannins you get, but also the less fruit you get. I like that big full body coming from Napa. So I like that younger wine because it has more fruit, a little more kind of bite on there, I would say. But that teaches on at that point, honestly.
And it's a personal preference.
Hey, Haas or Robert, you said you're pouring the 15 in the tasting room now, but it's the 17 that is
17.
That is a bigger, more tannic?
Yep.
Oh. Because we're drinking the 15 here. And it is big, it's a little tannic, it's a little spicy. But as you point out, it's been open for probably 45 minutes, so it's starting to round out a little.
Yeah. So this one, I would say, Paul, is I get it more on the side of my mouth.
Yeah.
And probably the 15, I don't get it on the side of my mouth like that.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to rejoin. It had kicked my internet, I guess kicked me off.
Welcome back, Amy.
Hey, you missed it. We drank the whole bottle. You
I was
gotta
gonna
catch
say,
up. Time to catch up.
Syrah.
So Vicky, why did you and Mike decide to plant Syrah?
Oh, well, because at the time we planted Syrah, that was the big thing. In 1999, 2000, Syrah was like the new thing, right? Everybody planted Syrah. And then, of course, nobody wanted Syrah after that. Just like everything we do, you know, it doesn't always work out right. But the funny thing about Syrah is that our guests love Syrah. And there's a lot of people who come in who don't know Syrah. They're Cab and Chardonnay drinkers, you know, and then they taste it and they realize it's a crowd pleaser wine. It goes with a lot of things. Lots of people end up liking it. They just don't know it very well. So it turned out to be fine, but it was like many things we've done, it sort of seemed like a mistake at the time.
Well, if you want to call it a mistake, we've created some pretty amazing wines, you know, sparkling and still, which is, that's what I get super excited about. So let's see, we are about 40 minutes in. Why don't does anybody else have any questions or comments about the Syrah or favorite food pairings? I know Herb's been a wine club member for many, many years, and what do you enjoy pairing it with?
With my wife. I mean, we got a lot of wine in front of us the rest of the night, so this is we never leave a bottle to the next day, so there's 4 bottles that got to leave here pretty soon. Hey, Vicky, I was going to go back. I mean, we joined in early 2010, but when you guys really started, wasn't Zin your focus?
No, not really. Zin was never really our main focus. Syrah is what I call our flagship wine, and we make, you know, as you know now, a lot of other things with it. Several sparklings. We make, put it in trays. It's in our fusion, which is our port style wine. So it's still sort of the backbone of everything we do. We do Zin Herb because we're in Dry Creek, and everybody in Dry Creek does Zin. So we said, well, we better do Zin. We like Zin, but it's not estate grown, and it's not one of our major areas of focus.
Ain't nothing wrong with Jean's block.
I know.
We like it. We like it.
Good.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, we had it last night for dinner.
You had the wine for dinner?
Oh, we actually did have dinner. We had wine with dinner. Let me say that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Liquid diet over here.
Well, let's move on to the cab. So one thing that Vicky had just mentioned is that we have our estate grown wines, and we have our, absolutely, we have wines that we source the fruit. So as Matt was saying, the Jeans block, that one is grown, that's our Zinfandel, and it is grown by the Saini family, 4th generation Italian farmers here in Dry Creek Valley. It's really an amazing Zin. In fact, our 2017 Zin was selected amongst our cohorts as the #3 Zin of all Dry Creek Zins being made. So that was such a great honor, especially because we're not a Zin house. We're really a Rhone and a sparkling house. So this one is our Rock Pile Cab. And if anybody knows about the Rock Pile American Viticulture Area, AVA, it's planted predominantly with Zinfandel. So just a small section are planted with Cab, Petit Verdot, so some other varietals. So we're super fortunate to be able to source the fruit from Amista Vineyards in Rock Pile. This is our see, 2014 was our first vintage from this vineyard site. So this is our third vintage from there. And it drive, sorry,
Rock pile.
rock pile, thank you. Rock pile is all dry farmed, and it's on really steep terraces overlooking Lake Sonoma. So there are some inlets that are facing east and facing west. And this vineyard site we share with another winery because it's much more than what we can produce and be able to offer to club members. But this is really a true style, cool climate Cabernet. As a crow flies, it's about 10 miles to the coast, so you get a lot of that coastal influence that comes in. You know, Ashley does again that 5-day cold soak, which really takes down the tannin structure and brings out more of the fruit. And then she presses this off about 15 days after the maceration. You know, what I love to hear is Hawes' excitement about this one because he is a Napa Cab kind of guy, and how Rock Pile is such a stellar stand above Napa Cabs.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, as Robert explained, it's like it's 1,800 feet elevation. It's super high up there. And rock pile, so like the soil itself, it's rocky, it's sand, it's clay soil. So it's the fruit itself, it struggles to get nutrients. So there's dry farming, it struggles to get water, it's above the fog line. And it gets a lot of, so there's a lot of stuff that's going into it. It's stressing the vine. So when you're stressing that vine, you're getting a smaller berry. The smaller the berry, the more intense the fruit. And 17 was hot, so another factor. So all these factors are going into this particular wine where it's like it's definitely a full body cab. I think it's we did a 30% New French oak and 26 months in our barrel. So basically, I get really excited talking about cab because like that's what I was brought up with. So like cab is like, okay, I can talk about this and all these new varietals like Movedros, like I had to learn about it because of Ashley. But the cab is so big, it's fruit floor, it's got that blackberry jamminess, like this, like you're talking about aging wines, that cab will easily age 10, 15 years. I have the 2008 sitting in my desk, like I'm waiting for the perfect moment to open it up. But honestly, like this cab has the, and it's also like, because with cab, there's two like big factors. There's the tannin structure, and then there's the acidity. All wines have acidity, but like the acidity is what kind of keeps you drinking and being a cool climate and high elevation. It just kind of, the tannins are there, right? It's cab, it's a dark fruit, thick skin. So you can get that dark fruit, the blackberry, the jamminess, and then the acidity. It's kind of just the ending palate where it just kind of refreshes you, like where you get that, the tannin just dries you out, the tannin kind of replenishes you, like, so you keep drinking. That acidity is what like keeps you coming back on there. But it's so good. It's just what Ashley does. She has that perfect balance of like not over extracting anything. It's just a perfect balance on there.
Yeah, it's got really a nice, long, lingering finish to it. And you put this down for 5, 10, 15 years, and it'll change completely. So the one thing that I like is you can drink it now, or you can put it away. I always say buy tree, drink one now, share with friends, and cellar one.
You know, a question, you refer to this as a cool climate Cabernet. What would the characteristics be if it was a warm climate?
So it would be, so the cooler, it tends to be a little higher in acidity. The warmer climate tends to be more jammy, so like more fruity. It tends to be like a little more black, like so, like the jamminess aspect of it, like as opposed the acidityness gets you a cooler climate. The warmer it is, the more fruit you're gonna pick up. Basically, it's more fruity, like more blueberries, more dark fruit on there.
Yeah, and Paul, the warmer climate cabs, they tend to have more oak regiment on them. So they pull out a lot of those bigger kind of vanilla characteristics to give it a much bigger body.
Like a lot of Napa cabs, they're the trend there. They're extracting a lot, so they're making it darker, more approachable, younger. But it like doesn't age well. Like I mean, some of them obviously do, but they get like this, like the valley floor and mountain floor. They get the big difference of the valley. I'm excited that it's mountain because it has a lot of struggle and unique, like I mentioned. The valley floor tends to be closer to warmer, where it's just more. You have to do more to it, like aspect of it, like Robert was saying, more extraction, more pump overs, more time with the barrel. Doesn't mean you can't create a great wine, but it's just the fruit itself tends to be it's smaller berry. It tends to be a greater, lower yield, so higher quality on there per se.
You know, it's stylistically different.
Okay.
All right, I have a question just in terms of making it. What exactly do you mean by extraction?
So extraction is the press off from the juice from the skins itself, because that's where the skins hold a lot of the tannin structure. So depending on how much you're hitting those and pulling the tannins out, that's what you get, that dryness on your mouth. Yeah. So what does everybody think about the rock pile cab?
Well, Robert, I need to go back to you suggest you buy 3 bottles because you said drink one, share one, and store one?
Yes.
That worked for me.
Doesn't work for you. You drink all 3?
Your idea, at least, or store.
I'd probably give up the
I don't mind buying 3.
part of it, but
Maybe you should have said 7. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
I'll buy 2 cases and store 1 bottle and share 1 bottle.
Drink the rest.
What's this share stuff?
I don't know.
We're not sharing our wine.
Are you a hoarder?
You sound just like Robert. He doesn't share.
We're not collectors, we're accumulators.
There you go.
Right.
There you go.
My friends are lucky that I'm sharing with them.
Yeah.
We have a line.
But I understand that one of them has a big birthday today.
Who's that?
He actually, unfortunately, he's my neighbor, but he didn't come over. He's having some stomach issues and not feeling well, so he had to cancel at the last minute.
Drink to him.
unfortunately. I know, exactly.
More wine for you, I guess. More wine for you, I guess.
Absolutely.
You can always take the wine over to his house.
Yes, I could do that if I was a nice neighbor. you know.
Or not.
If he can't walk next door, it's not, it's on him.
Exactly.
So what are you pouring in the tasting room now? Is it the 2015?
Yeah, 2015. So
Okay.
2014, I saved 20 cases and I put it into library, and we'll re-release that in probably another year. So look forward to that coming out. 2015, we submitted it. Sonoma County Vintners was requested by Wine Advocate to have their member wineries submit wines for review. Because we're a small producer, we're not distributed, ratings really aren't something that we normally do, but we submitted it, and Wine Advocate gave us 92 plus points on the 15 vintage, which was a great honor, and it's an exceptional wine.
Yeah. We're drinking the 2015 tonight. We're clearing out our old stuff.
You got the new stuff, so you're just drinking the old stuff. I see how it
The
is.
old stuff, right?
Take
Very,
this
very
one out,
good.
put that one in.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always like to hear people making room in their cellars.
way to do it.
We got rid of all our children to make more room.
That's
Well,
one way to do it.
Wait, is Matt on mute?
Yeah.
No, one of my kids is on here. He hears me.
I moved out because I don't like what happens to my wine cellar if I'm too near you guys.
Oh,
actually, Herb has a friend that has his and hers wine cellars, and they lock them.
Wow.
Oh yeah, they definitely do. They and I think there's still a bunch of damage done to both, but they definitely do that.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh, too funny.
So Vicky, Robert, you guys, how you guys doing the tasting room now during coronavirus and things like that? Has it been a challenge? What's it look like for you?
It's a completely different feel. You know, with COVID, we had to rethink how we served people. It's not the open tasting room bar aspect. We have to keep social distancing from each other. And, you know, right before, you can see the structure that we have above us. We had started at the beginning, well, actually at the end of last year, putting in a solar structure that created a shade structure for the tasting area. And we put a solar system on top of it. What it's done right before COVID started is we had to shut down and it was finished. So for 2.5 months, we weren't able to use it. And the weekend after Memorial Day, we opened it up with social distancing tables, smaller tables, everything's reservation only. But you know, Herb, it's given us an opportunity to engage differently with our guests and with our club members, and people love it. We've gone from, Sonoma County itself said, if you're going to open your doors, you need to be able to provide a meal with a tasting. So Vicki and I brainstormed, we came up with some creative ideas, and we worked with one of our caterers that we've done business with, and she created this really amazing charcuterie box for two, and we called it lunch in a bottle or lunch in a tasting, and it's carried on. People love it. So we've, you know, on every other Sunday, we do pizza Sundays. We have the wood fire pizza oven going.
That's my favorite Sunday, honestly.
The opposite Sundays, we do bubbles and brunch, and we have people that they come in and they're just loving this whole new experience and way of tasting. And it gives us a chance to engage and make more friends, because you get people that want to understand about the wines and the experience, rather than it being a big, how many tasting rooms can I go to in a day?
Yeah.
You know, and for the team, it's learning, you know, what are the new little idiosyncrasies about engaging with guests. You know, we're a small producer. Wine Club, and thank you so much to all of you, is really a key component to the business. And we've, with financial situations, and we've seen a fall off in Wine Club, but we're engaging with club members in a completely different way that creates these longer lasting connections, which I really love. So send your friends and let them know how much you love Amista, because actually, Paul, you sent a group.
Oh, yesterday, yeah.
Thank you so much.
and I've got to say, I got feedback from them. They had an amazing time.
Thank
I mean, just they couldn't rave about the experience enough. And I know they were running behind because they were late they weren't late at the first stop. They stayed long. The second stop, stayed long, and finally made their way over to you. But it was just an amazing, and they couldn't believe the kind of treatment they got. I think they expected, you know, waddle up to the bar, get a pour or two, and, you know, head on down the road. And that's not at all what it was.
Awesome to hear.
So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for accommodating them.
Yeah, our pleasure. And thank you for sending them. You know, it's a different world out there, and we have been incredibly proactive in coming up with unique ways to engage with people and keep people excited about still experiencing wine country. So yeah, thank you for that.
One of the things I love about it is that we started doing these Zoom tastings, and we get to connect with people that live all over the country that wouldn't normally get to come visit with us very often. That's one thing. And the second thing is that I'm not usually in the tasting room except during events, or maybe if I'm walking my dogs.
In California.
And Ashley's not usually there either, our winemaker. And so it gives us an opportunity to actually see you and see your faces and talk to you and hear your questions. And I love that.
Yes, Vicki, we're from Alexandria, Virginia. So when we saw the opportunity, we've never met, we see the invitations to come to barbecue or whatever, we can't go. So we decided we'd try this and we're enjoying it. And so thank you for doing this.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for being here, honestly.
You know, we were early adopters to the whole virtual aspect of engaging with guests, and we saw such great results. You know, Dorothy has been on probably every virtual that we've done, and there's been kind of this metamorphosis of how we've done it. It's just been Ashley, and I stand in the background and I feed her information, and she's like, "What, Robert?" So then it became that I was on camera with her, and then she wasn't able to be, you know, God bless her. 2020 harvest has been a, yeah. So, you know, it gave us a chance for you to meet Hawes face to face and see his personality. So we've really kind of evolved over time with these virtual tastings, and our local community and our club members that voted for us, our Press Democrat is the local newspaper in Santa Rosa. Every year they do a vote on best tasting room, best virtual tasting, best chef, best whatever. And you voted us as the best virtual tasting out of our peers in Sonoma County. And we are so honored to do that. And I think one of the big things about our virtuals is that it's this engagement. Yeah. We've done anywhere from 7 to 30 to 90 people on a virtual. And there's always this really great engagement and great questions that people ask and connections that are made and interesting connections, as I said.
Robert, since you mentioned the 2020 harvest, you know, how has it affected you? I mean, anything from the fires?
Yeah, thanks for asking, Paul. You know, we were nervous, and we ended up pulling in everything that we had projected for, plus a little bit more. We ended up taking in about 2 tons extra of Grenache. So keep your eyes out for a rosé of Grenache that we'll be releasing in the spring.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
So we'll continue with the rosé de Trace, but we're also going to be doing a rosé Grenache. And I've had some early samples, and oh my God, sorry, Vicki. I am so excited about it. But you know, we went through the whole process of testing to see if there was smoke taint, and it was all sent off to labs. And you know, a lot of it is that you just have to taste it. And Ashley's been diligent about tasting all the wines, and there's nothing that's coming through on it. So we plowed ahead.
Just a quick question, and this is maybe, I'm not sure if it's lazy or not the right venue for the question, but you know, I've seen a lot of really cool postings from you guys and Vicky about like, hey, you know, we did these 3 bottles and we paired it with this like scampi recipe or this pasta recipe. And normally that's just Mike going like full on scientist, like, you know, crazy scientist in the kitchen, and it turns out like really well. But have you guys thought about trying to do a pairing where, you know, similar to this one, you can order your 4 bottles if they're not in your cellar, but also a recommended, maybe a 10 with a recommended pairing for each wine comes along, and whether it's apricot or a cheese or something. I don't know. Food in California and other states gets weird, so I just don't know if that creates difficult hurdles for you guys. But
we have weird food in California.
No, we have weird food regulation. But I was just
the avocado toast. Sorry, no avocado toast.
If you guys sent a steered pairing of wine and food, I would buy that in 2 seconds and see you next week. So I'm just curious if that's been thought about or if you guys have been doing it.
Well, guess what, Matt?
Okay, here's my credit card.
So we actually just started a subscription.
By the way,
What's that, Herb?
but you can put my order on his card. He's about to give you his.
No, that's part of the seller split.
No, but I think what he wants, which is what I want, is for the food to come in a package too.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I want to get like a little tin, and if, you know, maybe the fusion's going with some carnitas, and maybe the, you know, cab's going with a cheese.
I'm getting a little hungry right now.
Oh, stop it. It's dinner time.
All right, so what goes with peanut butter?
Chardonnay. I don't know.
I don't know. Your tongue stuck to the roof of your mouth. So actually what immediately jumped to mind, Matt, was we started a subscription model. You don't get the food with it, but
Yeah.
every other month we send 2 bottles along with a recipe from one of our friends, Beth Bollinger, who's also a club member, and she's a nutritionist. So she creates these recipes to be paired with one of the 2 wines that we send, beautifully packaged. We roll the bottles up in tissue paper. It's all hand created. We pull some olive branches off from the olive trees here on the property, or some rosemary, and stick it in there, and we ship it off to you. We actually are launching, we call it Let's Be Friends, and it's for people that are in the club or people that, you know, aren't really ready to commit to a club. But it's a great chance for them to engage with us, to get some great healthy recipe, creative ideas to go along with the wines. And, you know, the recipes come in cardstock, so that you can save them, take a picture of them, put them on your phone, whatever. But yeah, that's kind of immediately what jumped to mind.
Lauren likes all that, and I guess I'm thinking more like, can Mike just send me a wood-fired pizza with the next order?
Yeah, for those, so you started out by saying it might be just lazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, so
And I'm happy to end there too.
yeah, no, you've prompted an idea, which I want to say thank you, because a lot of the things we've done on our virtual tastings have been suggestions that people have given us. Like one of them was to do a vertical, so we did a vertical. But
That was really fun.
a long time ago, we used to do tastings out of our trunk. We used to drive down to the Bay Area, and what we did was we paired the wines with hors d'oeuvre kinds of things that you could get at Trader Joe's. And so we could do something like that because there's Trader Joe's in a lot of places in the country. If we could say, just go to your local Trader Joe's and buy these 4 things, and they'll pair with the wines. So we could try something like that if
That
you're
would be
thinking.
fun.
We like
actually,
that
that's
idea.
great.
We would do that.
Or peanut butter.
Or peanut butter. We could do a pantry tasting where you don't have to prepare anything. Just put the knife in and lick.
There you go.
Anyway, we love new ideas, so keep them coming.
We have a pizza oven that we use in the backyard. Actually, that's what tonight is, a little pizza night to go with the pairing. So everybody makes their own pie. Everybody gets to create their own. So
Excellent.
I love it.
Excellent.
So, but a question, where is everybody located? Because your food may be different in your part of the country than our food.
No, we're still good. We still got grocery stores in Minnesota.
But are you
My
large?
avocados might be twice. Yeah, my avocados might be twice the price.
We're in
I'm
Colorado.
in, I'm in Oakley, so I'm still in California. It's all good.
Yeah, we're in Colorado, so it's basically whatever I can shoot out the back door, like venison or buffalo or
Yeah. Elk.
a nice coyote stew is kind of nice every now and then, but bunnies.
Just don't kill the alpaca.
We got plenty of
Bunnies.
bunnies here.
And then Matt, where are you?
We're just in the Bay Area. We're in Hillsborough by the airport. SFO.
Okay. And we have Virginia, and we have Ohio, and we have Reading.
Pasadena, actually, where I am right now, but.
You're Southern California. Yep. Excellent. Well, I wanted to thank all of you. We're going to wind things down. Vicki, thank you for joining us. I'm sorry that Mike couldn't join us. It's great to see familiar faces and new faces, and this is really, we get such a charge out of this. And keep your eyes peeled for these in the future. I'm going to create a virtual tasting tab on the website, and we'll continue to add to those and different opportunities and for you to engage with us and make new friends. Yeah. So as we're going into the holiday season, and Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and then we go into Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, we want to make sure that you've got wine of Amista on your table. So if you order 6 bottles or more, we'll throw in the shipping. Just email Hawes, and it can be any of these, or it can be anything else from our portfolio. We so appreciate everything that you do to support us, and we love to be able to share the amazing wines that Ashley makes and meet our team.
Thanks.